got to say, and not just doing it, but actually joking around with the Murray Walker stuff in the process.
Well, I had to do that, but I'm surprised.
Have you ever... Surprised? I love the underplay. Oh, I'm surprised.
I was, because you've got no idea. And people used to say, how was that? How was that? They go,
No, that was you can just tell that was a tidy lap. The thing is, have you ever actually met Murray Walker?
Yes, I have. We did a conference together. We had to introduce him. And I said to him, 30 years of motor racing commentary, who's the one person that stands out as the most impressive person you've ever met in the whole years of motor racing? I thought he'd say, you know, Fangio or Jackie Stewart or Ayrton Senna, and he said, Jim Rosenthal.
Bless him. Bless him, really. But anyway, thank you very much for coming, and that's an impressive time, Rory. You can go and have a drink now.
Thank you
Ladies and
very
gentlemen,
much.
Rory Bremner! Now, we spent the first half of the show looking at a couple of German cars, neither of which, frankly, pass muster. So we thought it'd be a good opportunity now to look at what the Britisher architect is up to.
MG Rover, of course, aren't exactly the largest or the richest car company in the world right now, which is why they've got together with some Indians to build this, the City Rover. Now, at 6,900 quid, it is too expensive, particularly as... well, it's rubbish. But fortunately, they have put together another car. And that one, well, put it this way, Jeremy was up at the crack of dawn to try it.
This fabulous-looking two-seater is the MG SV. Now, as Richard said, Rover's not exactly flush with cash at the moment, so this car was designed and engineered by just 6 guys, using whatever they could lay their hands on. The chassis is made in Italy. The all-carbon fibre body is shaped on the Isle of Wight. The 4.6-litre V8 engine comes from the Ford Mustang in America. And then the whole thing is nailed together in the West Midlands. Inside, it's pretty much as you'd expect, hopeless. I've got no satellite navigation, no electric seats, no airbag, and while there is a third gear, I don't really have the strength to engage it. Furthermore, this window doesn't go all the way down. As you can see, the anti-lock brakes are broken. There's nowhere to put my left leg. The dashboard looks like I made it, and half the time the dials come over all Longbridge-ish and go on strike. Now, you might think that this is somehow in keeping with the MG thing. Bit of baler twine here, a beard there, an allotment shed, and you're away. Yes, but this car has been designed to compete with Porsches and Lamborghinis. The base model, the cheapest, is going to be £75,000. Now, at this point, the Germans are probably rolling around on the floor laughing. So, the Tommies have made ein car out of spit and Kleenex. They will be crushed. But then, of course, the last time they underestimated us, they came up against the Spitfire. Listen to that Merlin soundtrack. This car has one of the world's great engines, a big, gurgling V8 with huge torque and an even huger thirst. Flat out, at 165 miles an hour, this car is using a kilo of fuel every minute. That's jet fighter consumption, but then it goes like a jet fighter. It's got that lightweight carbon fibre body, so it weighs nothing, and you can have as much power as you want. No, really, the standard car, the base model, produces 320 brake horsepower. This one, with a few tweaks, offers up 400. But they will sell you a nitrous kit that takes it up to 1,000 brake horsepower. 1,000! And you needn't worry about the chassis not being able to take that kind of grunt either, because it's poised, it's balanced, but most of all, it is just so much fun! Oh, yes! Whoa! Oh, this is just terrific! God, just imagine how good it would be if you could get third. Now, I'd love to say at this point that when you've finished clowning around, it turns into a comfortable cruiser. But it doesn't. It's always a hard-riding, hard-charging, hard-drinking bruiser. And when I say bruiser, I have now finished recording everything I need to say in this car, but, well, no harm in a couple more. Whoa! Ow!
Did you bang your head a bit there, Jeremy? That was lovely. In fact, should we watch it again? Let's have another little look at this lovely moment here.
Whoa,
here we go. I'm really enjoying that. Can we see it again? That's maybe a better angle, just to make sure. Let's have another look as the Clarkson skull. That's right. I could watch that all day. They'd like to see it in slow motion while we're at it. Might as well. Let's see it in slow. Oh, the Clarkson skull moves. That's the best bit of TV all year. You do that. You'll straighten them out a treat, Jeremy. I want that on my computer when I switch it on in the morning.
I'm back.
Yes, just.
Oh.
So I bet you wish you'd driven the city thing over there now.
City Rover?
That's the fella.
No. No, because this was fabulous. I mean, I know it did the unprovoked assault on the side of my head.
And I thank it for that.
But the noise and the looks and the speed and the handling, absolutely adored it. The only problem is, it's like, I don't know how much they spend developing it, 5 million quid maybe, whatever. If they'd have just spent another 50p on the interior.
It's a case of a hape of the tar.
It is a hape of the tar. Almost wrecking it by that sort of, oh, well, you know, that'll do, that'll be all right, it's better than my ass.
Every penny spent on that bit of carbon fibre right there by your head was money well spent. But it does sound a lot like a TVR in feeling, you know, noisy and different.
Yes, except a TVR has got a better interior than this, and actually I think a TVR will be more reliable.
Just how bad was that knock on the head? You are still concussed. At £75,000 for this as well. I mean, TVR is going to be cheaper. 75 grand.
I know, you'd have to knock your head.
Yes.
No, it still doesn't make...
Do it again, keep going.
Yes, there we go. Oh, I want both of them now. You really would have to knock yourself senseless to pay for that. Unless, of course, it turns out to be really quick round the track. If it can go around quicker than a Porsche GT3 or a BMW CSL, then it would be worth that kind of outlay. So literally, its future is hanging by a thread on how it does on our track.
It's hanging in the balance, and we will find out how it does later on in the programme. But first, the burnout. Now, this is a burnout. It's not difficult, really. Rev the engine, keep your foot on the brake, make as much smoke as you can. All your mates cheer and jeer. Look at that, they're really pleased. And look at all that smoke. Marvellous. See, it's really not that difficult. And to put it into perspective, we've got one of our charts here. This actually shows the ascent of man. So we started down here as apes, and then over millions of years we evolved through the Willman era, through the Subaru Impreza driver era, until we get here, upright walking, modern man as we know him today, capable of thought and general brilliant stuff. So who wants to imagine where we might put the burnout driver on this chart? Where do we think he might appear? I mean, you know, kind of up here, or maybe down here, or down here. Well, I can tell you, actually, it's here. There he is, you see? There he is. In what we like to call the Nova SR Ice age. So we know people at that end can do it. What about people up towards this end? Can clever people do burnouts?
And I mean really clever, like boffin clever.
The first contestant in our Brainbox Burnout is Heinz Wolf, Professor of Bioengineering at Brunel University. Competing against him is Brian Sewell, Britain's brainiest art critic. And finally, Professor Colin Pillinger, the country's leading expert on planetary and space science research. And this is the car the eggheads will be burning out. A Nissan 300ZX with 480 brake horsepower, a competition clutch and twin 10-inch subwoofers. So there we are, Britain's brightest brains focused on mankind's most mindless activity.
I think what I like about it is that it's part of a mechanical ballet.
It has brakes.
Yes.
That's why no woman should ever drive a car. They simply don't understand how these things mesh together.
So it's accelerator, clutch, brake.
No, accelerator, brake, clutch. You see, we didn't foresee this. They're still asking questions. This could take hours. First up, Brian Sewell, who wrote of Botticelli's portrait of Smeralda Bandinelli, the background architecture is an unconvincing fiction, the perspective absurdly steep in its unnerving rush into an unreal distance. Not bad. And now it's time for the massive IQ of Professor Wolf.
No, I think I'm having distinct clutch trouble in this.
Back rev?
No. I missed the brake with my foot.
He missed.
Oh dear. He may know lots about the composition of polyisoprenes, but he can't mash his tyres. And finally, Professor Colin Pillinger, a real rocket scientist. Very impressive. You may have noticed one missing. That's because Professor Heinz Wolf was so gutted at not doing desperately well, he had to rush off home and invent something to console himself.
We have still got two, though.
Yes,
and I
absolutely.
would just like to say what a great pleasure it is for me to have people on my intellectual plane for a change.
Oh, no. I know where this is going and I know what you're about to say, because I'm a doctor.
I am a doctor.
No, you're
I
not.
am a doctor.
Can I just explain? Jeremy got his doctorate one morning in his packet of cornflakes. He just
I
tipped
did
it over.
not. I got it from Brunel University. They gave me a doctorate.
He went to a party, they gave him a badge that said, I am a doctor on it. Ever since we've had to call him the doctor.
Can I just say, I think we're agreed on this. As man becomes more civilised, as time passes, he gets taller, doesn't he?
Oh,
the taller the man.
This is puerile. Big brains, puerile stuff. Obviously, Professor Heinz Wolf, it must be said, came very much third. And nevertheless, in second place, Brian Sewell. It was a magnificent effort. Very well done.
Well done.
If it's any consolation, yours looked better. It had perhaps more artistic flair to it. I think I did well making up there.
Nevertheless, the winner, I think we're all agreed on this, with a magnificent performance, Colin Pillinger, everybody! Well done. Well done. Now, there's just one more thing I'd like to say before we go. Colin here, you really are a rocket scientist, aren't you? Because your Beagle 2, Mars lander, will be landing on the Red Planet on...
Christmas Day, 2:54 a.m. in the morning.
2:54. So it's not a question of shall we watch the Queen's speech or shall we watch pictures from my car on Mars?
AM.
AM.
Queen is on PM, remember?
I mean, fingers crossed that goes well. But I would just like to say, you're going to beat the Americans, aren't you?
We'll be there first.
Ladies and gentlemen, for that, a big well done.
Now, while we were planning this programme about German cars, a bit of a row broke out in the office. What's the best British car?
Has anyone got any thoughts? What do we think is the best contemporary British car? Hold on a sec. What? The what?
TVR.
TVR is a good car, no denying that. Has anyone else got a thought? Ariel Atom. That's not really a car, that's sort of a bedspread with a motorcycle engine in the back of it.
XKR.
XKR, now that's a Jaguar.
Yeah.
And Jaguar's owned by Ford, which is an American company. And it's the same story with Rolls-Royce and Bentley, they're German. And it's the same Aston Martin, American.
Absolutely.
Anyone else got any thoughts? Nissan, what?
Nissan Micra.
Now, you see... The Nissan Micra comes in boxes from Japan and they put one screw in it in a place called the Northeast and then call it British. It isn't.
It's not as easy as you might think, so obviously we had to get out on the track if ever we were going to sort this one out. So, the best British car? Well, it's going to have to be beautiful, built by blokes in a shed, and preferably powered by a big engine. It's going to have to be this, the Morgan Plus 8. Now, straight away, if you're thinking, it looks old, forget it. This is how a Morgan looks and always has. Why change it? This car isn't assembled, it's crafted. There's as much passion goes into building it as you can put into driving it.
Do they still make those out of wood?
Yep, engines out of an old boat.
You've got to get past thinking, ooh, it's old-fashioned. It's made from wood because wood is the best thing to make it from. Suspension is there to do one thing and one thing only, keep the wheels on the ground. And that bit of flex in the chassis helps you do exactly that. Oh, and then it gets bumpy sometimes and it just, come on. And of course, that engine, 4 litre, well proven, Rover V8. Best of all, not only is it as beautiful as the Malvern Hills in which it's built, it's fast. Oh look, Jeremy's brought a plastic car.
This is the Noble M12 GTO, the new one with the twin-turbo 3-litre engine. And I've got a bit of an idea. Richard, do you fancy a race?
Yeah, I'm always up for that.
Good. Little loop round here, and I reckon I can get back here, get out of the car and read a book before you finish.
That's just a ridiculous thing to say.
Oh, what's that speck in my rearview mirror? Why, it's the Morgan. So much better now, he wasn't angry anymore, he was a little caterpillar anymore, he was a big fat caterpillar. Built a small house called a cocoon around himself, stayed inside for more than 2 weeks, then he nibbled a hold of the cocoon, pushed his way out, and he was a beautiful butterfly with time to spare. But then, I have got 352 brake horsepower, he's only got 190. I go from 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, that's faster than any Lamborghini. He takes 6.5. I have a top speed of 170. What's your top speed?
135.
135.
That is not a book.
Look, I could have read Pride and Prejudice, but this is better. This is A Very Hungry Caterpillar. You should read it. It comes with a toy, just make sure it doesn't eat your chassis. This car is plastic. It has a stupid rear spoiler and it's made by a company no one's ever heard of on an industrial estate in Leicestershire. So for posing, it's hopeless. But for the undiluted thrill of driving, it's almost impossible to do better. Yes, yes, yes! God, I love this thing. I drive lots of cars, but you know, very little puts such a big smile on my face as this. You know when you see someone water skiing, how they arc through the water with total grip and total control? Well, that is what it's like driving a Noble. Except, of course, in this, you have the incredible soundtrack of that engine, those two turbos sucking in great lungfuls of air and then dumping it through the wastegate. Whoa. You can get into this after your dog had died and all would be well. Yes, whoops-a-daisy. This car just shows how good Britain could be if we just stop pretending that it's 1936, just go, right, it's 2003, we don't use typewriters anymore, and boy, can we make something good. And yet, despite this precision and this handling genius, it's comfortable. I've got air conditioning, I've got a stereo, I've got lots of space, it's nicely trimmed, there are leather seats. I mean, what more could you want?
He misses the point. He's reduced the whole thing to a mathematical equation. That's not a car, it's a calculator.
They've brought the wrong cars. Actually, you know what? I think they've brought the wrong type of car. I'm not denying that Britain makes good sports cars, but the best British car is actually a comfortable saloon. Let me explain. This Rover 75 might look as if it came out of the 1950s, but in many ways it's the right car for modern Britain. Now, I'm a big fan of modern Britain, but let's think about what it means to the motorists. It's sleeping policemen, gatzos, congestion, broken up road surfaces, all that sort of stuff, stress. Now, when you're faced with that, what do you want? 0 to 60 in 5, 4, 3 seconds? Louvres on your bonnet? I don't think so. You want peace. That's what the Rover gives you, peace. There's nothing raucous about its V6 engine. It rides more smoothly than a Rolls-Royce Corniche, and it's trimmed like a first-class cabin on the Titanic before it sank. Now, when Jeremy drives a car, he drives a car like this. In fact, even when he's just talking about a car, he does this. And Hammond talks about barrelling along in his Morgan. I don't want a barrel, I want a waft. Clearly, we weren't going to agree without an informed and reasoned discussion. Okay, the Rover is a proper symbol of British defiance. Awful
The
places.
reason why Britain has no car industry anymore, why all the names are gone, is because we live in the past. We used to be a great country.
Now, look.
Noble has come along and said, we are now in the 21st century, let's build a car to beat the world.
No, I could build your car. I couldn't build a Morgan.
You'd have to
You
build a-
could, you carved that.
You
A
need
chisel.
It's craftsman built, not some spotty teenager with a rivet gun.
Now, the problem with the Morgan is it's just a car that they forgot to stop making in the 40s.
No, that's entirely wrong.
Okay, the problem with the Noble is
There isn't
the
one.
engine's in the wrong place.
You will admit this is a beautiful car.
No,
It's all right.
I wouldn't admit that.
It's a toy, it's not a car.
Exactly.
We still couldn't agree, so we thought we'd try each other's cars.
Pathetic horn. I mean, listen to that. Get out of the way.
Yeah, you tuck your pension book in that little strap thing there.
Whoa. Now that is terrifyingly quick, but I quite fancy, I don't know, a nice relaxing ride in a Rover.
Oh my God! Oh! God, he nearly fell out of it! Swear, Hammond. Sometimes. I don't understand that, boy.
What?
I'll tell you what, do you live in a house or a barn?
A house.
Do you sleep on a bed
Oh,
or a bed of straw?
A bed, obviously.
Come on, this is a bathroom appliance.
It's plastic. It's just...
Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll tell you what we'll do.
Sounds like
No
that.
more arguing. We'll put it to the vote, okay?
So we're a democracy all of a sudden.
Yeah, we're a
aren't we?
democracy now.
That's a first.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I have a show of hands, please, for the Rover 75?
That's 3, James.
Yeah, OK. Ladies and gentlemen, show of hands, please, for the mighty Morgan. Oh, that's not bad.
That's all the elderly gentlemen have got that. And can we just round this one off now, please? For the noble. Yes, there you go. A complete wipeout. The best British car. Or is it? Earlier on, I tried the MG SV, and we reckoned that it would be worth £75,000 if it could go out on our track and give the Germans a bloody nose. So, let's fire him up. Colonel Fotherington Digby Stigby. So, with the very greatness of Britain resting on his shoulders, the Stig is away. Now, the track is dry today, so the MG has the best possible chance to give Fritzy a good drubbing. That is German music! The treacherous Stig's listening to Beethoven! Although he probably knows it simply as the tune from the IBM ad. It looked ragged out of Chicago there. What about Hammerhead? Ooh, understeer on the way in there. And then, what have we got? A little bit of oversteer. This isn't all that brilliant, must be honest. Coming down to the follow-through. Scary corner, this. Very scary. And look at it dive under braking. You almost hear the stifled laughter echoing around Stuttgart. OK, second to last corner. Can the Stig make it 1945 again, or even just 1966 would do? Cross the line. Now, this is what it's really got to be.
Yep.
M3 CSL, 1 minute 28.
Very
dead.
quick.
911 GT3, 127.2. And they were done on wet tracks.
Yeah.
It did it.
Go on.
1 minute 28.6.
Oh.
The Spitfire has lost to the Messerschmitts. So how about this for an idea? We put some nitrous on it and have a rematch. Yes? That's a good idea. We'll do that one day. For now, good night.